Hello everyone! Today we're gonna have a look at the Nikon S9900, which is the largest compact camera Nikon offers. Well, when I say largest compact camera, Nikon also offers the P series, which is this kind of bridge camera, but to me it's not really a compact camera anymore. It's just because of the sensor size that they still call it compact camera, but size-wise this is the largest compact camera they offer. As you notice, bridge cameras have quite a big zoom lens, even when it's fully zoomed in or in the off mode, let's say, and you can't put this into your pocket anymore. Well, this you can still put into your pocket. I've tried that out. So we're gonna have a quick look at the camera today, mainly from the outside, and then I will turn it on and show you some insides of the camera, as well as I will give you a short verdict at the end. Starting with the front, you can see the lens, of course. It stands out a bit, but not that much, to be honest. Here you can see the 30 times zoom, which is equivalent to 25 to 750 millimeters. And trust me when I say 750 millimeter is quite a lot. Even with the VR, which is built in here, 5-axis, and digital VR, it's quite difficult to take sharp images as soon as the light gets a bit less, at full zoom of course. And here you can as well see the aperture, 3.7 to 6.4. Of course you can find some compact cameras with larger apertures, but price-wise, first of all, they're really expensive, and second, if you really emphasize these large apertures, I'm not sure if you really want to buy a compact camera or rather some DSLM or some DSLR probably. Well, I'm gonna continue at the top now. As you can see here, we have the on and off button, which is quite easy to push, although it's quite small. You have the zoom swipe for zooming in and zooming out, as well as the shutter button in the middle. You have the mode dial, which offers modes like automatic, PSAM, scene modes, as well as a command dial here on the right side. I will explain what it does later. As well on the top you can see it has Wi-Fi built in, as well as GPRS and GLONASS. And here where it says Coolpix S9900, there is the built-in flash. You can pop that out, it's spring-loaded. There you go. And here you can see the flash stands out quite a bit and also goes a bit to the front. I quite like the fact that the flash is a bit higher than the camera itself. Usually you find this flash is built in left or right, and if you use the flash you usually get the shadow if the flash is next to the lens. With this flash, at least you have some opportunities to avoid shadow or to minimize the shadow, let's say it like that way. Well, continue on the back now. First of all, here's the screen. I'll flip that out in a minute. First of all, we're gonna go through the buttons here. You have the record for movie, the quick record button. It's the playback button for movies and pictures, the Wi-Fi connectivity, menu button, delete, and as well the typical Nikon dial, which has different functions in the menu, as well as the OK button in the middle. And of course, we have the 3-inch screen here. You can flip that out like that. And it's quite large and it offers more than 900,000 pixels. And it's also quite bright, so even in daylight you don't have any problems to see. Well, of course, if the sun goes directly on the screen, it's fairly difficult to see anything properly, but I think these cameras are not meant to, well, be used in fairly high daylight or sunlight exposure. If you want to put emphasis on that, you should probably consider buying a camera with optical viewfinder instead. Well, concerning the screen, you can flip it around 180 degrees in one direction and 90 degrees in the other direction, so you can also take some shots above your head. Of course, you can also flip that around and put it back that way. Well, it's quite tough on the one end, and well, I'm gonna come to that later. Well, you can also keep it that way, but I prefer to put it the other way as a protection, of course. I'm gonna flip that back for a second, and then we go to the other side. There you go. Here you can see the screw for the tripod if you want to use one. It's not really centered, but of course the camera is not that heavy. It has just 290 grams. It's heavy for a compact camera, but compared to other cameras it's not. So you don't really need the tripod column to be in the middle. And here you can see the battery and the SD card slot. On the side here you have small connectivity things, like 1 second please. You can find a small USB, mini USB, and a mini HDMI input. So if you want to connect the camera directly to your television, you can do it with a mini HDMI cable. So I'm going to turn on the camera now, and first of all I will zoom out for that, so you can probably see the lens a bit better. As I said, you just push the button for a second, it beeps and it turns on, and now it's ready to operate. Shows some green light here as well. And first of all I'm going to show you the maximum extension of the zoom, which is that far, so you can see it's quite a lot. But as I said, well, 750 millimeter, it has to go somewhere, it doesn't come from nowhere. And well, personally, if you use it, it doesn't really matter. And if you turn the camera off, as you can see, I'll just turn it back off for a second, just to show you that, well, it's not that big. Well, it stands out probably, well, let's call it a centimeter. I didn't measure it probably, but it's not that big. Well, turning the camera back on, I'll also flip open the screen now, so you can see something on the screen. That way. I just have some camera back in front now, but it doesn't really matter. Well, as you can see, the autofocus, well, the minimum distance Nikon says it's 50mm. Well, probably it works a bit less, but 50mm is not that strong, to be honest. So it doesn't really make sense for macro or anything else, but probably it's also not the right camera to pick for that. Well, I'm gonna show you the mode dial function now, so you can, well, not use it in auto, but of course if you, for example, use the Aperture Priority, which is set now, with this command dial here, you can change the aperture. As you can see, it's 4.5, 4.85 now, 5.3, 5.66, 6.3, and it goes to a maximum of 8. Where's the shutter speed? I'll show you that as well. Going to shutter priority now. Well, this is the highest. I'll show you, it's 2000, 1 out of 2000 seconds. To me it's not that much, but well, if you use the camera in proper daylight, it can be a bit harsh, to be honest. Sometimes cameras I use, they use shutter speeds from up to 1/8000 of a second. So probably you're gonna get some problems with that one here. But again, I mean, this camera is not meant to be used in this kind of situations if you want to get some proper shots out of it. And I'm sure for some snapshots it will still remain more than enough. For example, for a travel camera or anything else like that. Well, if you push the menu button on the back side, which I showed you before, you have the standard settings in the camera. It's quite easy. You don't have to read the manual at all, to be honest. You can set things like the image quality, the image size. Well, image quality wise, I have one concern first of all. You can only select JPEG pictures. There is no option for RAW pictures anymore. And well, you can also select only between normal and fine pictures. The size, well, you have more selections: VGA, 2 megapixel, 4, 8 and 16 megapixel, as well as the white balance, of course. The metering for the exposure, you have matrix and center weighted metering. Probably, well, personally I use the center weighted, but now I left it to matrix because I reset the camera today. You have the continuous high and continuous low, like shooting options, the ISO sensitivity, the AF area, autofocus and manual exposure. You have some movie options here as well. It shoots movies 1080 with 30 frames or 60i. Well, 30 frames of course I use it, but 60i not really. Also the VR works in movie. And the problem with the movie is you have the VR built in, and the VR makes some noise. And the microphone picks up that noise, so you will always have some, well, annoying sounds in your video records. So if you want to really use it, probably you should consider using some external sound recorder, or don't put that much emphasis on the sound itself. Well, you have some Wi-Fi settings here as well. I'm not going to go through that now. Here you have the positioning things. I will just can put the data like kilometer or miles, points of interest, electronic compass, like that. Well, just show you, maybe I switched it on for a second. Well, I never tried that, to be honest, so probably you're not going to see that anyway now. And here you have some settings like sounds, auto off 1 minute, format memory card, language settings, charge by computer, reset all, firmware version, etc. Well, the verdict. The camera is, well, not that cheap for a compact camera, but also not too expensive, to be honest. If you want to have some proper camera for traveling or just to have a quick shot outside and you don't want to carry some big equipment all the time, it's fairly a really good camera. You can use it. The zoom is really superb. I mean, I didn't figure any position or things where I need more zoom than that. One small problem I have with the camera, and it's really annoying for me, is the release here on the downside of the battery. It is really easy to push, so if you pull it out of the pocket, it just pops up like that. I mean, you don't have to do anything, you just swipe over with your finger. Like, there's virtually no resistance with that switch here, and it opens really, really easy all the time. So if you have it in the pocket and you pull it out, it happens quite a lot that you open that small thing, and to me it's quite annoying. So I'm gonna have a look at the Nikon Germany store, whether they can solve the problem or just fix it. I don't know what they're gonna do about it, but this is really some annoying point for me. Otherwise the camera is really easy to handle. Even for beginners it's quite some easy thing. And well, that's about it for the camera. If you have any questions, please feel free to post a comment under the video. Otherwise, see you soon.